We are now joined by Ohio head coach Jeff Bowles. And Bowles, I'm going to hit you with this right off the bat. You have a knack for finding a way to get your team to play its best basketball in February and March. You won your last 6 regular season games and a 7-game winning streak down the stretch of the season last year. What is it about the way that you run your program and you run your season that gets these guys going late in the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting statistic, and I think even year one, or maybe the year it got canceled, we were playing really well heading into the MAC tournament. We thought we were gonna had a good chance to win it that year as well. But working for Keith Dambrot when I was at Akron, he was always gearing up for March, and he was always big on getting his teams to play best in March. And then working for Thad Matta at Ohio State, he was always big on fresh minds and fresh legs. And so, really throughout the course of a season, in our league, we have a growth mindset, just continue getting better, figuring out what you need to get better at, work on it. And hopefully by the end of, late February, March, you're playing your best basketball. And we've been able to do that.
Listen, your players actually like you. I mean, that's the biggest surprise. You returned almost everybody from last year's team in an era in which everybody wants to leave for more money or they're unhappy about something. But you brought just about everybody back that you could. What was the key to that, and how important is retention, especially at the mid-major level when so many programs are getting plucked by the high majors right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate, to bring our core group back, starting with, A.J. Clayton, Sharif Mitchell. Those two could have left and probably went, anywhere they wanted to go and, quite honestly made a lot more money. But I think both of them chose to stay here for the right reason. The opportunity they have, the culture we have in our program, the chance to win a championship and go to the NCAA tournament. And, we're going to lean on those two heavily. And obviously we have a great junior class in the same boat. So we try to treat them well. We feel like we got a great culture. We work at it. We develop. And if you go back to the Ben Vanderplas, Mark Sears, years, that's kind of where it started. And I think, Ben going to Virginia and not having the type of year, he thought from a usage, rebound, points, I think that helped a little bit. But then on the other end, you see Mark Sears, first team All-American, led Alabama to the Final Four, was, their best player arguably. And, we feel good about the development we had with the 2 years he was here.
You mentioned A.J. Clayton. He's one of 2 guys that made an all-MAC team last year that is back in the MAC this season. Where have you seen him grow? Where have you seen him develop?
Yeah, the maturity of him, his story is really cool. He came early as a 17-year-old and, played his freshman year. And, he's 20 years old now as a senior. So he should be a junior, from a school standpoint, playing standpoint. But I think just the maturity from year to year, and, he's been around a lot of other really good players. He's made a huge jump this summer, from a confidence standpoint. Last year, obviously a great three-point shooter, but he's added a lot more to his game from a post-up, perimeter, mid-range game. And I think just the growth from that standpoint.
Does AJ know your 3-point shooting percentage in your 4 years at Ohio by any chance?
Probably not, but it's funny you say that. I don't know why, but Chase, my son, brought it up the other day. And
I know. We were talking. Chase and I were talking. And first of all, I don't want to throw poor Chase under the bus here, but obviously he's getting over another knee injury there, which I feel terrible about on your team. But yeah, he made it clear. Check out my dad's 3-point stats in his career. So I'm looking at him right now, Jeff, and AJ is going to hear about him here in a minute. Your first year, you didn't attempt any threes. Probably the smart thing. Probably the smart year. Then, next year you were 1 for 2 as a sophomore. Then you start to feel yourself a little bit, and 4 for 12. Okay, 4 for 12. But your final year, 4 for 19, 21% as a senior. So you finish your career 9 for 33, a whopping 27%. How do you feel about that?
One of those 4 was an unbelievably huge shot. We were in Madison Square Garden playing in the championship game, New Mexico State, and Neil McCarthy's team. And they were unbelievable. We had beaten Virginia, top 20 team, Ohio State on the road. Played George Washington when they had Alexander Cool, Nimbo Hammonds, Kwame Evans, loaded team. And I hit a huge three because I dribbled down the court. I looked to pass, nobody was open. Looked to pass, nobody was open. Looked to pass, nobody's open. And everybody's yelling to shoot it, so I shot it and it went in. That was a big three that game.
Here's my question, Jeff. If Jeff Boals, the head coach, had Jeff Boals, the player, on his team, would you be letting Jeff Boals, the player, get those shots and take those threes?
No. Jeff Boals, the coach, would be telling Jeff Boals, the player, continue set screens, pass to the other teams, or pass to your teammates, best players, and get them shots, get open, take charges on the other end, dive on the floor for loose balls. That's what I'd tell them.
Hey, what is, you've been in this a long time. You've seen the landscape change. And now as a mid-major head coach that's watched some guys leave to high majors, you've retained a bunch as well. Like, what's your philosophy on this? And is there anything that can be done to make sure that the gap doesn't keep getting bigger and bigger and you can't compete with some of these high majors?
Yeah, our philosophy hasn't changed, from a recruiting standpoint. We're going to continue recruiting the best possible, student athlete we can. We feel really good about our freshman class this year. We felt, good about it a couple years ago. And we're going to develop those guys. And, like you said before, we're going to treat them well. We feel like we have a great culture here. If they end up deciding to leave, we'll try to replace them maybe with a transfer coming in, and the transfer portal's been good to us. Jalen Hunter came in, Dwight Wilson came in. We have Jackson Paveleski this year, Vic Searles this year. So I think you got to balance it out. I don't think you can do one or the other. But I'm not sure there's anything you can really do unless there's revenue sharing for everybody. And the gap is what the gap is. And we're going to scrimmage some teams and play some teams that their NIL deal is probably 100 times more than what ours is. So I'm not sure there's much you can do. And I think the landscape's going to change even more, starting with football and trickling down to basketball.
You bring back AJ. We talked about him. You got Sharif Mitchell, who in the last 7-game win streak I mentioned averaged 14 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals. You got Jackson Paveleski coming in. You got AJ Brown, who was an all-MAC freshman team member before having a shoulder injury last year as a sophomore. Like, I should be excited about this team, right? Like, I feel like you guys have a really, really good core here. Are you as excited as we are in terms of what you can be this year?
Yeah, I am. And it starts with the guys you mentioned, the core guys coming back, the 4 juniors, Sharif and AJ Clayton. Those guys have set a great standard for who we are as Ohio University basketball. Really done a great job of integrating the 2 transfers, Vic Searles and Jackson, and then, the freshmen coming in. And, I give them all the credit, for the seamless transition because we brought 6 new guys in, so it's not like, we have everybody returning. And but I tell those guys they set the standard for who we are, how we do things, and what they're going to allow. And they're an everyday group. They've come every single day with a great attitude, with a great work ethic. They're a selfless team. They're a close knit team. And then the 4 juniors, Aiden Hadaway, AJ Brown, Elmore James, AJ Sheldon. Those guys have made really good jumps. And to have that many guys that have been in your program for a couple years. AJ Clayton for 3, Sharif for a couple. They know how we want to do things, what we want to do. And, I could sit there and tell them what drill to run, and, I wouldn't need to be there. They could run the drill, and they would do it just with the same amount of effort. And I think that speaks to the character of, who they are, how they were raised, and who we have in our program.
I got 2 more quick things for you. One, the nickname for Jackson Paveleski, by the way, asking about this, is Big Daddy. He was playing blackjack with a bunch of the Iowa State players down in the Bahamas, and the dealer in the Bahamas actually nicknamed him Big Daddy. So you got to ask him about that. I thought he was a walk-on. He looked so young. I didn't even know. I called him a walk-on. He's probably still upset with me for that. But really good kid, and he's going to help you. I mean, he was the freshman of the year in the SoCon. At Wofford. So he's going to be a huge help for you guys shooting the ball. Number 2, before we go, we talked about your 3-point, it was a little lackluster. But honestly, your 3-point prowess probably was elite compared to your dancing prowess. So let's take a look here at Jeff Bowles, the dancer.
Wow.
Look at that.
I don't even know
Look
what
at
that is.
Yeah, I don't either. I shouldn't even say anything because hopefully Doster won't bring it out here, but he's got video of me dancing at Jeff Borzello's wedding, and it was worse than that.
Much
when
worse.
I first got here, we took a program over that hadn't won, the last couple of years. And, the first game we played, we had, I think, 8 scholarship players at St. Bonaventure, which if you'd never been to St. Bonaventure, like that environment's unbelievable. And, Mark Schmidt, I used to work for at Robert Morris. So I knew Schmitty really well. So we go in there and we win. And, I'm thinking about what can I do in the locker room afterwards. So I'm kind of walking in and I see everyone just sitting there. And I spontaneously do the Conor McGregor billionaire walk. And I'm walking down in the middle and the place goes nuts. And it ended up going viral. Conor McGregor retweeted it. TMZ retweeted it. So then I'm like, the pressure's on. So, you got to enjoy the wins when you get them. They're hard to come by. You got to celebrate them. That's one thing I really learned with Mark Schmidt and Robert Morris, because that was a hard place to win at the time. You got to celebrate them when you can. So, some of them is spontaneity and some of it's planned and not very well.
All right, here's my challenge to you. If the Browns end up winning a Super Bowl, what I want you to do is we're going to come over there and we're going to get you on video. You're going to do the Macarena for us. You in?
I'll have John Fanta right beside me, and we will both be doing it.
There's zero chance of that happening. So you can promise whatever you want. There's literally zero chance of the Browns winning the Super Bowl this year.
Next year's our year. That's our team mantra. Next year's our year. Unfortunately, it's after week 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, Bowles, we're going to catch up with AJ Clayton here in just a minute. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being a good sport as Goodman tries to roast every coach in the MAC. We'll be back with more on MAC Media Day here on the Field of 68 coming up next. Welcome back to MAC Media Day here on the Field of 68. We are now joined by one of the 2 all-MAC players that decided to return to their school this season, AJ Clayton. AJ, look, you're 6'8", you're a shooter, you're listed at 245 now. I'm sure that you had people reaching out to you this offseason about getting in the portal. You got to transfer here. You should try to transfer there, NIL this, NIL that. Why are you back at Ohio? Why are you back playing for Jeff Bowles again this season?
The relationship I built with Coach Bowles and Coach Martin kind of overcame all of that. Obviously, me and Coach had a lot of talks. We had one in the season. We had a lot after the season. And ultimately, the relationship I built with him, I told him, I said, if we are going to the tournament, I wanted to do it with him. I wanted to play for him, be with him. We built a very good relationship with each other, and same with Coach Martin. And, I love my teammates. I love this team. I'm from Southeastern Ohio, so getting to play here actually means something special for me. So that's all that combined into one is really the biggest reason.
You've done it the old-fashioned way. Honestly, like every year you've gotten better. You've taken a step. Your freshman year, you didn't play a ton. You were a role guy, played like 10 minutes a game, then started, part of the season your sophomore year. Then last year, man, you were kind of the guy on the team. What's the next step? What's kind of the final step here for you in your evolution as a player that you want to do before you leave Athens?
Obviously, playing in the tournament, helping the team in whatever ways I have to help get us there. Obviously that's the goal for any program is to win a conference championship and go into the MAC or go into the, NCAA tournament. And that's obviously our big goal. It's what we've all talked about in every team meeting, every practice. That's what's in our minds. And, we only have 2 people who've ever played in the tournament, and they were both for different teams. So for us, it's big on getting back to that.
What about you as a player? What about you as a player? What personally have you worked on in the off season that you want to take a jump or?
It's been a lot of post up, whether it's face up, back to the basket, a lot of shot fakes, lots of shot fakes, and just being able to go down in the post and, whether it's one or two dribbles out of a shot fake, make a decision, whatever it may be. Those have been the key things I've worked on a lot.
You guys are bringing back 6 of your top 8 scorers, which is unique in the world of college basketball where we are right now. How is that culture? How is that kind of continuity? How does that impact what the offseason workouts look like and how you guys are kind of getting better together?
Like Coach said, we're a very close group. I mean, obviously, when you have 6 people coming back, I mean, I knew Elmore and AJ Sheldon from just high school and middle school, but the rest of us, we've gotten very close. We're all, and even the new guys, all of us very close, and it gets very competitive. Obviously, when you've had 6 people coming back that have known each other and competed against each other for years, and then the new guys coming in want to make a name for themselves, it gets very competitive, very chirpy sometimes, and it's all a part of the process, and we all love it. It's fun to be a part of. And just like Coach said, integrating everyone. And I mean, everybody gets a piece of the competition. Everybody has their day. I mean, it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Hey, I just said it to Bowles when I was down in the Bahamas a year ago. Jackson was with Iowa State. The whole team was playing blackjack, and the dealers started calling him Big Daddy. So make sure that nickname sticks if you can.
I'm gonna have to ask him.
I think he was betting $5 hands, and I think she was making fun of him for his minimal bets. Hey, on a side note, I was told you just got your license recently. Is that true?
I did. Yeah, got it last Thursday.
All right. So why do you wait so long? I mean, you're a veteran now. You could have gotten, like, I don't know, 7 years ago or something. You waited this long. Go ahead.
Coach said, so when I came in early, I just finished doing like driving school the day before I moved into college. And so then it just kind of never happened once I got here. Just got busy with all this and kind of came one of those things. I'll get it in the summer, and then 3 summers passed, and then finally had to do it. My mom really was on me all summer about doing it. So that was really the biggest part. She was on me pretty hard.
How did you get around? Are you just begging for rides from everybody?
I mean, it's Athens. I mean, it's not that far to walk around to places. I mean, we live in James, which is right in the middle of campus, and then the apartments I've lived in aren't too far, and there's a bus. So, I mean, I figured it out, and getting rides when I need one, figuring it all out.
How'd you do on the test? Easy?
I did good. Yeah, the instructor was very helpful. He was really nice.
What about parallel parking? Did you figure that part out?
It was a little bit of a struggle, but we got it. That was his most helpful part.
Can you multiple opportunities at it or no?
I had to restart it. Yeah, it was my first one. The first attempt was pretty poor, and he was like, "I'd restart if I were you," and I was like, "Yeah." And so restarted, got it.
So what kind of car are you driving now?
We're still figuring that all out. Trying to get something figured out for that.
Come on. You got to have Bowles get you some sort of NIL deal there. It must be
we're
car
working
dealership
on it,
in town.
trying to get it figured out. Yeah, we're working on it.
All right, good.
See, you know what? We buried the lead here. That's why he wanted to get his license, because part of the reason Bowles got him back was like, listen, we'll get you a car, man. We'll get you a car. You can figure out how to drive it. We'll get you a car, but we can't afford to pay for the driver, so you got to get that part figured out yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, who's been the biggest surprise of the new guys, of the 6 new guys? Has there been somebody that maybe you just didn't know enough about?
I mean, I knew Vic in high school, so kind of like seeing how different he was now was definitely like a big like change. Because like the last time I'd seen him, like he played differently, and now like it's left hand, right hand, like his hook just doesn't really miss at all. So it was very different, kind of seeing him. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago now that I saw him, and then seeing him now, it was very different.
Sharif Mitchell really came on down the stretch of last season as you guys went on that win streak at the end of the regular season. Where has he kind of improved this summer? And, he's the old guy, the 6-year player, grad student. What kind of, he's been in the program now for a year. Like, what have you seen from him this summer that is kind of has you excited about where he's going?
He's definitely added a lot of facilitating to his game, which, I mean, last year, Jalen kind of did all that, and Reef's definitely taken over and added that a lot to himself. And it's a lot of fun to watch because, I mean, obviously we see he gets in, he can get a layup and get into the lane whenever he wants with how quick he is. But now, like with his facilitating, continuously developing, getting better, it's a lot of fun to watch. And it's a lot of fun to play with too. I mean, him, Pav, and AJ Sheldon all with their ability to distribute, and we've seen it through the summer as all of us have kind of meshed together even more. How much better like the connections have all gotten with in terms of facilitating.
Well, listen, AJ, we appreciate you being here. Best of luck this season. My best advice, don't speed. All right. You don't need to get speeding tickets. Goodman can tell you why you don't want to get speeding tickets. He's paid out a lot of money in speeding tickets. So make sure you stay under that speed limit. We appreciate you being here. Best of luck this season. We'll be back with more on MAC Media Day here on the Field of 68 coming up next.